pedal down. Okay, at 4,000 RPM it starts waking up. You know, we're gonna get to 60 here. It's a beautiful morning in the all-new redesigned 2023 Honda HR-V, this entry-level compact crossover, the second generation. Following up the success of the first generation, the sales volume of that first generation have been exploding the past couple of years. Now we're going to an all-new platform with this new HR-V based off the global platform for Honda. It's going to underpin the new Pilot, the Accord, the new CR-V, of course the Civic and the Integra. And this vehicle is about 9 inches longer than the outgoing model. We have about 2-inch wider stance to it as well. This vehicle is just so much bigger, has so much more command on the road. All-wheel drive, of course. You can get this vehicle in 3 different trim levels. LX, EXL is the top, and in the middle you have the Sport model. This is the EXL, so we have all the glossy bits around the wheel arches, around the bumpers, the front and the back. The window surrounds have glossy black to them. We have these 17-inch wheels, this machine finish design here on this EXL model, but you can get 18-inch wheels on the Sport model and save a little bit of money if you're more into the big wheel design. Also with the new model, gone is the torsion beam rear suspension. We have a fully independent rear suspension now to make this vehicle just feel so much better when you're driving it, and also when you're pushing it around the turns, it's going to feel a little bit more planted and secure as well. Oh, as we open the hood here, this thing's pretty heavy, definitely not aluminum. You have the kickstand there. I'm just going to hold it up with my arm. We have a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque, made it to the CVT. Look how much space is in there. Maybe one day Honda will put in a turbo or a hybrid, but until now, this 2 liter is all we got, and we'll put it through the ringer today. Now we're gonna get on the inside, starting with the front. Man, the materials on this model are just so much better. Soft touch here on the door, soft touch around the armrest where you're gonna be putting your arms. This rib material, striation at the bottom to kind of hide scuffs and scratches. We also see that in the cargo area. Nice leather seats here on this EXL model. The rest of the models, or trim levels I should say, have cloth seats, but the other models also have the soft touches everywhere with this little pass through. But all models come with this soft material, not only on the armrest area, but around the vents, on the dash. It's, dare I say, a bit luxury. On this EXL, we have the largest touchscreen, 9-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. We have a wireless charger down here, USB charger here on each side actually, and one through there. We also have the excellent climate control with the 3 knobs here, fan control, auto, dual climate control, and heated seats in this model. We have a 7-inch customizable MID behind the steering wheel. The steering wheel is excellent leather quality here. We also see this in the Civic and the upcoming CR-V, so definitely stay tuned for my CR-V driving impressions when I drove it in Nashville. That'll be going up next couple weeks here. Now the new HR-V has less cargo space versus the old model, but it has more livability for the passengers in the back seat. I could easily take a nap back here, lots of headroom, and I have tons of legroom set up behind me at 6'1". We have no USB chargers. We have no vents back here for the passengers. That's one of the downfalls of the back seat. We also have no armrest to come down, no cup holders. The only cup holders are going to be here on the side of the door, but at least the door does have, even though it's hard touch up here, where you're gonna be putting your arms, is a nice soft material like we have on the front. Like I mentioned, cargo capacity is down just a little bit versus the old model here, but I think people will be plenty happy with the cargo capacity of this model. Even if you fold down the seats, man, we still have a flat floor. It is a ton of space for this entry-level segment, and we have additional hidden storage underneath. Do we have a spare tire? Looks like full diameter, but not full width, so we don't have a donut here, so that's good if you need to drive on this a little bit longer. We have a 180-watt 12-volt adapter here, so if you need to, you could run a USB adapter to the rear passengers from this little guy back here. We also have that ripple effect back here on the vehicle that gives it not only a better look, but also better durability against scratches and scuffs. Backup camera here in the HR-V it takes up the full screen, so I do appreciate that. I would say it's average resolution. It's not gonna blow anyone's minds, but it's more than good enough to get the job done. And we're off in the new HR-V. I drove this vehicle in the Pacific Northwest around the Columbia River Valley, and that was just an unforgettable experience. The tall trees, the mountains, it was so gorgeous to drive this vehicle. And the mountain roads, this vehicle handled like a champ. Here in South Florida, I just have straight roads, on-ramps, off-ramps, and roundabouts. And that's really all I got. So I won't be able to push this vehicle in quite the same manner I was in the mountainous Pacific Northwest. But what can I tell you about this vehicle and just daily driving? It's very comfortable. I mentioned how everything in here is pretty much soft. So my knee rubs against the center console here, which is padded in this soft material. My arms rest on a soft armrest on both sides, not only on the door, but in the center here. Like I mentioned, everything in here just feels very, very premium for a not that expensive vehicle. And like I said, all those things that I mentioned are available on the lesser grades. Now, like I said, this vehicle does come with the leather seats. They are very comfortable, but I found in the sport model, those cloth seats are still pretty comfortable. I haven't driven the base LX, but I'm sure those seats feel identical to the ones in the sport model. This vehicle is pretty quiet overall. I mean, I really don't have that much road noise. Watch out, bunny, please get out of the way, thank you. I don't have that much road noise. I really don't have that much wind or ambient noise coming in through the glass. It is a very, very soundproof vehicle for the class, no doubt. In terms of ergonomics, the shifters here where I want it. The triple rotary dials for the climate control is just perfect for Hondas. We saw it on the Civic, here it is on the HR-V. We'll see it in the new CR-V, and I'm sure the Accord and Pilot at this point as well. I wouldn't be surprised. Infotainment is in the background, which I like. I don't have to thumb through a bunch of menus. It's super easy to get to what I want. So Sirius XM, I can just pop that up here, and there I'm going. Or just Android Auto is just a button at the very bottom of the screen that kind of stays there. And again, it's wireless on this model. Get into the brakes here. Very predictable. I wouldn't say they're mind-blowingly strong or anything. They're adequate for the weight and size of this vehicle. And the steering feel is very accurate. It's not nearly as quick to turn in as the Civic, but I mean, it's a much higher off the ground vehicle, the higher center of gravity. Could you say this vehicle is a raised Civic? Kind of. I mean, it's off the same platform. I'm sure it shares many of the same pieces. The interior feels very Civic-like in here, and that is a good thing. Get into the brakes again. Yeah, there's a lot of progression, but it does give you a good amount of feedback as you bury your foot into it. We do have a parking brake electronic in the bridge here. We also have downhill assist control from 2 mile an hour up to 12 mile an hour. That's pretty cool. We also have this driving mode, which is normal, econ, and snow. I've just been leaving it in normal mode. The fueling of this vehicle is very, very lethargic due to the CVT and the 4-cylinder engine. It's mainly for just point A to point B driving, and it gets the job done there. I'm getting 27 miles per gallon here in the city, but I have been idling it quite a bit as I was at the very beginning of this video, just sitting there. And before that, I was around 29 miles per gallon. So your city is going to be around 27 to 29 miles per gallon, I would say, if you're driving pretty conservatively. And that's where I feel like even though the HR-V has more power than it does before, it actually has worse fuel efficiency than the smaller outgoing model. And I just wish Honda would give us a hybrid of this vehicle, and they very well might. We know that there's a hybrid Civic coming. It's already available in Europe this summer, and it will be coming to North America sometime in 2023. So hopefully we see a hybrid version of this HR-V to combat the hybrid Corolla Cross coming in the near future. And that would definitely fill in a lot of the shortcomings of this vehicle, which is a lack of power and a lack of fuel efficiency. Even though I feel like this vehicle is priced right, I just feel like having more choice for powertrains would help this vehicle a lot with its marketability. Now when this light turns green, I'm going to put the pedal to the floor here. It's not going to go anywhere. 0 to 60 on this vehicle, when I tested it earlier this year, was just under 11 seconds if I remember correctly. So it's not going to, it's going to lose just about every single race you put it in if you plan on racing this vehicle, but that's not what this car is for. It's basic entry-level transportation with an immense amount of comfort for this segment. I feel the build quality is really good on this vehicle, and the comfort is outstanding for the class. I almost feel, when I'm in this vehicle, I almost feel like it's a luxury vehicle. And here we go, pedal down. Okay, at 4,000 RPM, it starts waking up. you know, we're gonna get to 60 here. There's 60. So this vehicle, it's very, very slow. That's probably the greatest downfall of this vehicle. It is mind-blowingly slow. It is very unrewarding to put your foot down in this vehicle. Just nothing happens. Here I am going about 45, pedal down. Then it starts taking off. But when I mean take off, it just finally starts accelerating because it's not accelerating quick. The greatest driving aspects of this vehicle are not its acceleration. It's definitely its handling and its braking performance and braking confidence. It is fun to throw in the turns. It does stick well, and you would expect a lot more body roll from this, but independent rear does a really good job keeping this vehicle planted and handling any imperfections. I'm gonna hit this pothole there, and it did it so well. Didn't upset it, just handled it and carried on with its business. I haven't even mentioned the safety features in here, but Honda has done a great job with the radar cruise control, as well as the lane keep assist. I love having this lane keep assist. I feel like it's even superior to the Hyundai and Kia's lane keep, which I thought was one of the best in the industry. I actually prefer the Hondas. It feels a little bit more smooth. It doesn't ping pong you around as much. I even tested this lane keep on a blind turn in Washington, so it did that really well. I'm still here to talk about it. So the system is fantastic, and I'm done talking about the safety features in here because it is kind of boring, but they are top notch in the new Honda models. The sound system in here does get upgraded for this top of the line model versus, let's say, the Sport and LX models. It's, I would say, just as good to my ear as some of the Bose sound systems we hear out there. We also have auto dimming rearview mirror on this EXL model that you can turn on and off with this button. And of course we have a sunroof that the camera is attached to right now. Now I want to say Honda was selling like 120, 130,000 of these I think in 2021. It's just an insane amount. The market is hungry for this subcompact crossover, and this is better than the outgoing model in every single way, maybe than fuel economy, right? But I think overall Honda has nailed the execution of this vehicle. Do I want more performance? Absolutely, but at the cost of what? I guess fuel economy would be going down. Unless you get a hybrid, then the cost goes up. So I feel like what you're getting for the price here in the new HR-V is really, really good. The driving dynamics outside of the acceleration are excellent. The safety in here is really, really good. Oh, by the way, if you want blind spot monitor, you have to get the Sport model or the EXL. You can't get the base LX. So that's almost like skip the base model just to get the blind spot monitor, in my opinion. That's something that will continue to reward you in the many years you have this vehicle. But nicely done overall, Honda, on your new HR-V. My opinion really hasn't changed on this vehicle since I drove it in Washington. It's going to be outstanding as long as you guys can make enough of them. But I know Honda's suffering quite heavily from the lack of chips right now and can't produce enough Civics, and this shares a lot with a Civic, right? So this vehicle is not going to be able to meet that same demand in the near-term future like the outgoing HR-V has been able to do. But the new HR-V, very good for the price point, luxury-like qualities on the interior for not luxury prices. You're just going to have to deal with the boring engine in here. It just does the bare minimum. I'm gonna end there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe for more Honda news and reviews. Catch you in the next one, and peace out.